They don't call it the silly season because it's safe and predictable. My friends, I have got you the ultimate survival guide of tips to make it through your holidays, Christmas, whatever period. It's don't do it at all. No, there's more. It's okay. Let's find out. Welcome, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I'm all about providing validation and support for autistic people and their loved ones. I have got you the ultimate holiday survival guide. Autism-friendly tips that can not only help you as an autistic person, but can help the loved ones of autistic people navigate through what is clearly one of the most confronting and potentially one of the worst times of the year for neurodivergent people. So listen to these tips, and hopefully this year you will have a Festivus miracle. Yeah? Yeah. Tip number 1, let's talk about structure and predictability. Now, I think it's pretty known, but I'm here to help you if you don't know. Autistic people can rely heavily on schedules, routine, sameness, plans, predictability, consistency. This is very important for autistic people. It's through the plans, the predictability, the structure, the sameness that we get a consistent, predictable day to keep us regulated. It also helps us reduce anxiety. Structuring activities throughout the holiday period can be a little bit trickier. Now, there's a few things. People are popping up left, right, and center. You've got friends and family members popping up everywhere. Hey, we should catch up. Let's catch up. Hey, come here. Let's do this. It's like, no. Right. It's hard. I guess what I'm trying to say is, can you aim to keep a routine for the autistic person in your life through all of this? Sure, it may be crazy. There may be a lot of pop-in guests or pop-up events, but you have to think about it from a point of view of neurodivergent people. This goes completely against our very fiber of being. So if you can maintain a routine, if not the same, a very similar routine, structure, plan, day to day, through the holiday period, the Christmas period, whatever it is for you, for the autistic person in your life, it's going to not only help them, but it's going to help you, the rest of your family, enjoy the period as a family. This can work in many different ways. You could make a plan together. Or, my wife does this, you could talk me through the plan. So listen, today or this week, I've spoken with blah, blah, and blah, and we're going to organize catch-ups, and here's the plan. So I know the plan. I know when it's going to happen. I can therefore pencil that into my brain and my plan. And then I can also have enough time to process the idea of being a part of it and opt in or opt out. And I think that's really important. Now, if we're talking about parents, carers of autistic kids, I think it's important that in all honesty, you try not to change anything in their daily plans, their daily schedules. So what I'm saying is they shouldn't be eating meals at different times, right? It should be pretty much the similar time. Now you might think, well, hang on, how can I give them breakfast and lunch when they want it if we have guests? So the way you do that is you give them breakfast and lunch when they want it and your guests see it. Like seriously, you just have to stick to the routine. You want to help them or not? Meals, bedtime. I get, let's say Christmas Eve, right? Maybe that's a given that either way, there's no structure and predictability. But what if there was? What if even though it was Christmas Eve, all the meals were still done at the same time and all the bedtime routines, the time, what happens leading up is all the same? Now, of course, they might be anxious or excited and not be able to sleep, but they're not going to be feeling more anxious because their whole routine has changed. So you've got to control the controllables. Another quick tip before I get on to the next one with structure and predictability. If you can provide clear plans, if you can provide clear, you can look at it in black and white and go, right, that's the schedule for today. That's the schedule for all the events today, tomorrow, this week, next week, and include all the things that are going to happen, whether it's hour by hour or day by day on the key dates, because not every day needs one. I think personally, you are so many steps ahead of just about everyone else, and you do not understand the power of that. It's concrete, it's black and white. This is the day-to-day, hour-by-hour schedule of what's happening on these key dates. And we can look at that days in advance, weeks in advance. It helps us process, it helps us plan our structure and predictability around those things. So that's really important. Tip number 2, we're going to talk about something I think is just an absolute nightmare for autistic people, for neurodivergent people around the holiday period, around the Christmas period, is sensory overload. This can be an autistic paradox, and I get that. Why do you say that, Orion? So sensory overload can be things like bright lights, loud noises, funny smells. It can literally just be environments. So it doesn't have to be the senses so much as the environment, the element they're in, right? An elephant in a tree kind of idea. But the paradox is you may find that your autistic partner or your autistic child or your autistic friend hates bright lights, but loves Christmas lights. They're hypnotized by looking at Christmas decorations and Christmas lights. And you think it makes no sense. They don't want the lights on in the roof or whatever because they're too bright, but then they can just stare at Christmas lights. If you're hoping for an answer, you're not going to get it. I'm pointing out, yes, that is an autistic paradox. There's something hypnotic or beautiful or calming or peaceful about Christmas decorations and Christmas lights for some autistic people. Now, that doesn't mean it's the same for everyone, but I just want to put that on the table straight away. So that's the paradox, but let's go back to the reality. Sensory overload and autistic people, right? So this super sensitivity, this hypersensitivity or this hyposensitivity, undersensitivity to the senses is a known diagnostic trait of being autistic. And you know as well as I know, at Christmas time, over the holiday time, however you celebrate, there are going to be different smells, yeah? So different foods, smells in the kitchen, in the house. Some people have, holiday season candles and smelly stuff. You see what I'm saying? There's going to be different lighting, different holiday lighting, different decorations. Some decorations make sounds, like Santas or reindeers that like sing songs or make sounds. These things are intense. People like to play Christmas music. I don't know why. You got crackers going off, those bonbons. No one ever warns the autistic kid or the autistic person in the room, hey guys, we're going to do the bonbons now, just so you know if you just want to leave the room or not. People are just getting them and just popping them. It's like you've walked into a street fight or something. So these are things that well and truly already exist in the autistic person in your life. And if you're an autistic person and you have these known triggers and it's going to set you off, it's going to have a detrimental effect on you as an autistic person, you can convey these things. What's yours? Are you love the lights, hate the sounds? Then make that clear. Make the people in your life know that love the lights, hate the sounds. So if you've got any of those Christmas decorations that, you pass them and they start singing and like, can you tell me where they are or turn them off while I'm here? Or can everyone have a rule that we're not going to do any bonbons, crackers or whatever you want to call them until we've given everyone notice so we can get out if we don't want to be a part of it. Yeah, this is really important because it leads to heightened anxiety. Right? It leads to overstimulation. It adds multiple layers to process. So we have the layers of life for an autistic person that are already there. But now we're adding layers. So it's not like the sensory overwhelm doesn't happen for autistic people on a normal day. You know it does. But now we're adding more people, more noises, more smells, maybe more tactile stuff, more people touching, right? Like hugging, shaking hands. There's the sounds and the smells and the lights and all these things. And now we're adding these Christmas things, right? So it's a breaking point. It's a threshold being crossed. And you're adding these layers knowingly and willingly. So the idea is, what layers don't I need? What layers can I avoid? Does that mean that I just don't have to have this, but I can have this, right? Like maybe I don't have the noisy decorations, but we can have the lights and the Christmas bonbons or whatever, as long as we give them warning to leave the room. I think can you get these Christmas bonbons that don't pop, that don't have like, the little kind of gunpowder stuff? Maybe you do. They'd work. So it's about understanding that sensory overwhelm is constant. You bring in all the added layers of Christmas holidays, whatever you celebrate, and all you're doing is adding to the impact, which is going to flow through to the next day and the next day. So let's go through a few little dot points that I think could really be helpful. So we talked about the bonbons, about giving them the heads up. So what does that do? That gives them a chance to leave. I think, broadening on that, the autistic person in your life should know in a very positive and welcoming way that at any time during any gathering or event they are able to leave whenever they need to. And when I say whenever they need to, I mean when guests are over. You've got to stop judging people for leaving because there's guests. Oh, but there's guests in the house. Good, but I need to, can I? Oh no, I'll just stay here and explode. No worries. Cool. Okay, great. So where you're sitting down with your family and having a Christmas lunch, where guests have come over for, I don't know, drinks and dessert at nighttime. Does that happen? I don't even know what that means. But you see what I'm saying? The idea that you can leave and no one judges you. This is a big thing. You've got to build that in. Okay. And don't forget, look at it like this. You know, when you're using like your device, your smartphone or your tablet or something, and you use it a lot over Christmas because, you know, your photos and things. And at some point, you've got to stop using it and you've got to charge it, right? Because it's going to die. Okay, cool. Look at us like that. At some point, we are going to need to leave to top up our energy. Simple as that. That's about as good as I can make that analogy. You've got to encourage the sensory stuff. So the sensory overwhelm can be maybe not defeated, but can be lessened with sensory tools. Now, for kids, that could be sensory toys, sensory tools, sensory techniques. Don't judge these, allow these. What are we talking about? We're definitely talking about stimming. No judging stimming. You have friends, guests over. Let them know, be open and honest. That is stimming. Oh, that's the way Orion regulates himself or soothes himself. It's self-regulation. Okay, we're not judging them or punishing them, allowing it. We're allowing it. So encourage those types of things. And the only thing I'd say before we move on to the next tip is, you know, like holiday clothing. Like if you're one of those families that think, oh, we have to wear this on Christmas Eve or this on Christmas Day, cool. But you might want to check to see if the autistic person in your life would be even comfortable in that type of material. Or can you buy, maybe you have a tradition, pajamas or something. Can you buy it in a type of material that is friendly, that's sensory friendly? But don't make it like this rule. Maybe you just avoid the special holiday clothing stuff. It's a possibility. Tip number 3 from the sensory stuff, let's talk about the food stuff. Yes. So the Christmas period, the holiday period, whatever you celebrate over this period of time, has special foods, right? There's traditional foods for the season, and they're even more specifically traditional based on your own family or your own culture. And these are great. It's great to enjoy them, but you know, just because you enjoy these traditional holiday foods, just because you enjoy these traditional family foods, these traditional cultural foods, doesn't mean the autistic person in your life will or needs to. Keep in mind too, different foods are adding another layer. So there's all the extra sensory overwhelm, but now that you're breaking the cycle of what their safe foods, what they have for breakfast, lunch, dinner. This is just going to make it worse. It's going to raise their challenges with sensory overwhelm. It's going to heighten their anxiety. It's going to create reactions and issues and dysregulation, forcing autistic people to eat foods because, well, that's what we have now, right? No. How do you fix this? You let them eat what they want. If you're having a Christmas lunch and all they want is a peanut butter sandwich, great. That's great. Awesome. Make them one. You see what I'm saying? Or prepare them a non-traditional holiday food they like. Prepare them their comfort meal. Maybe, let's say it's spaghetti, right? So spaghetti bolognese. Okay, cool. Everyone's sitting down having their Christmas lunch, their Christmas ham, their turkey, blah, blah, blah. Yeah? But your autistic kid or your autistic partner's having a bowl of spaghetti bolognese. Who cares? You see what I'm saying? That's it. That's the tip. Like, do you really people have to be forced to eat this because it's what you eat this time of year, or the family's always had this traditionally, or it's culturally what we have this time of year? Okay, great. That's amazing. But you're not going to force an autistic person in your life to do it for those reasons, are you? Because none of those make sense. Tip number 4, I like, because I can reference Home Alone. Tip number 4 in my holiday survival guide for autistic people and for the loved ones to help them through a Christmas holiday period is to case the joint. Let's just define that if you don't realize. When I say case the joint, if you don't know what I'm talking about, okay, cool. Take Home Alone as an example, which can really help in every aspect of life. You know, the Joe Pesci character at the start of the movie dresses up, pretends to be a cop, a policeman, and he goes to their house, right? He goes to like Kevin's house, the McAllisters, and he's like asking questions and looking around. He's casing the joint. He's gone to the house. that he wants to revisit later, right, to steal, to rob, to burgle, whatever. And he's looking, seeing, will they be home? Will they be away? What kind of things do they have? Can I see any expensive things? How big's the house? Where's the good places to get in and out? Right, that's casing the joint. I'm saying the same thing. I'm not saying break into someone's house and steal their things before Christmas. That would be weird. What I'm saying is, if your Christmas isn't happening all at your own home or your safe place, maybe you're going to, grandparents' place, family's place, friend's place, outdoor places, whatever. In Australia, obviously, our Christmas period is in summer, so it's very different. But if you're not going in the home front, in a safe place, you're going somewhere else, I'm saying allow the autistic person in your life to case the joint. So I'm talking days, maybe a week or weeks prior. Take them to that actual location. That could be a house, a park, a venue, wherever, where it's happening, right? Where it's going to happen, and let them just look around. Let them case the joint. They might want to talk to people, ask questions. They might just want to have a quick look, see where the parking is, see where the toilets are, see where we're going to be, see how it looks, how it feels. Going back the second time, it feels familiar. Going the first time, it's a brand new place and everything will smell weird and look weird and it looks scary and yucky or whatever, old and dirty or I don't know. You go there the second time and it's suddenly familiar. You don't understand the power of casing the joint, guys. It's crazy important. It gives the autistic kid or partner in your life the chance to familiarize themselves and feel comfortable with the environment. Now, obviously, as part of casing the joint, I'm assuming that means you're not celebrating at home for one particular get-together or another. If that's the case, you need to have a survival bag for the autistic person in your life. I can give you generic things, but really it needs to be what works for them. So you might take their tablet, iPad, headphones, stimming toys, tools, their favorite movie. Maybe it's on a DVD, maybe it's on the iPad, maybe it's on the phone, their favorite games, change of clothes, right? Hot, cold, a drink bottle, snacks that you know they like. You might even want to make them a lunch or a dinner, right? So you've got this sensory bag, this survival bag. And also, when you've cased out the joint, you've probably talked to the family member or the friend or the venue or the park or whatever. That's the time when you go, by the way, when we come and do this in a week or 2 weeks, do you mind if we kind of set up a little bit of a quiet area, a bit of a zone where, my autistic person or autistic people can go to? Like an escape room, a quiet environment. If they get overwhelmed, they can go. So it's like they're not at home, but they now know what this new place is like, how it's going to feel, and you've pointed out this would be a quiet room for you. So this is a win-win. And I get to use Home Alone. Tip number 5 may be the most powerful tip you will ever hear on any topic of autism in any respect when it comes to the loved ones of autistic people. Lower your expectations. I'm so sick of hearing autistic kids' parents, so parents and carers of autistic people, talk about expectations or setting unrealistic expectations. Stop it. No, enough. They're not neurotypical. Stop it. You want to set expectations? Great. Let's make sure they're achievable goals with achievable and understandable plans. This is just so we're clear. This Christmas, this holiday season, is not going to be the year everything finally goes right. This is not going to be the year everything goes to plan. This is not going to be the year where your expectations are being fulfilled. It's not. Autism doesn't weaken or lessen over time. You're born autistic, you die autistic. Your expectations around the holidays should be no expectations. If you want to enjoy the holidays, if you want to survive the holidays, quit with the expectations. Now, this not only improves the autistic person, because they don't feel pressured, but it improves your well-being and your mental health, right? Of you and the neurotypical family members and the wider family. What does that mean, Orion? Okay, expectations are a massive bugbear in mine. I hate when parents give the most unrealistic expectations to allied health professionals and stuff for their autistic kids. It's just, I don't get it, guys. I don't understand what you're trying to do. This is your kid. They're different. What's with the expectations? Okay, let's go through some. Don't force emotions. Don't force interactions and smiles. Give them a smile. Give them a big smile. Wave goodbye. Hello. Give them a hug. How you feeling? You happy? Right? Don't make them be happy. Don't make them smile. Don't force them into things. And here's the other thing, right? The exterior of an autistic person rarely matches the interior, meaning I may well be happy, but my face or my body doesn't show that. But that doesn't mean, so you're thinking on your expectations, that means I'm not happy. I could be happy inside and content. Because I'm not smiling or showing it on the exterior, you don't believe it. So you force me to smile, which then turns my interior from being happy to being probably upset, agitated, angry, dysregulated. But you get a smile. Doesn't make any sense. An autistic person's exterior rarely matches their interior with regards to how they're feeling. We know this. It's hard to identify and process. So you think we can also add on to that, but we can still show it? Guys, so yeah. And here's the other thing, right? Don't expect these like neurotypical reactions to gifts. Now, autistic kids love Christmas because they get good stuff. They get cool stuff. I'm all for that. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be like the reaction you hoped for or the reaction that you want or the reaction that is even acceptable in neurotypical standards. Your expectation should be, I have no expectations on the neurotypical reaction or how I expect my autistic person to react to receiving gifts, to receiving treats, meals, desserts, things. No. People are like, oh my God, what's my autistic kid going to say when they wrap this present? They're probably going to say, oh, I don't like this, or I've got this already, or oh, this is crap, or this is a baby toy, and they're going to embarrass the person that gave it to them. No, my life's over. It's like, whatever. They're autistic. It is what it is, man. It's not our job to like your present just because you want us to. What you teach the autistic person in your life is about gratitude. Now listen, little buddy, it's okay if you don't like this present. And that's fine. Say it. Oh, this is a baby toy. I don't like this present. It's okay to say that and feel that. That's a real feeling. Okay. What it's not okay, though, little buddy, is to not be grateful. So a person has gone like, your grandma, your uncle, your auntie, your cousin, your friend. They have gone to a shop and spent time and money picking out a present for you. And then they've wrapped it and they've brought it here for you. So you might not like it, and that's your decision. But what you're not able to do is blame them or show no gratitude. You must say, okay, great, you don't like it, cool, but you need to thank them. Think about it. And you've got to tell the autistic person, thank them for what? Okay, thank you so much for getting in the car, driving to the shops, looking around for me, picking something out for me, paying for it with your money, driving home, getting the wrapping paper and the tape out, wrapping it, then bringing it here and giving it to me. Thank you so much for doing that for me, all that for me. I'm so grateful, but it's a crap toy. The bottom line is, guys, how overwhelming is Christmas holidays already? It's already overwhelming. You're making it more overwhelming by expecting reactions that are acceptable. No expectations. Same with participation. Do not force participation in activities, in any kind of family Christmas activities, photos, right? Or greetings or games or things. It's not saying they're not in it. It's offering and then allowing, okay, they're opting out. Social anxiety, overwhelm, many factors will likely result from forcing this participation. And then it's a lose-lose for everyone. The final one before I go on to the next tip about expectations. Don't make a big deal of everything autistic people do that you like. Might sound counterintuitive. Let me explain. Let's say we give a present reaction that you like. Just let it be. Like, let's say we're super excited. Best present ever. Let it be. Let people laugh and enjoy that. But don't like, wow, oh, good boy. Great reaction. Well done. What the hell? And this is a classic one. Let's say the autistic person in your life escaped to regulate, right? They plug themselves back in and top up the charge, right? And they were gone for ages. And they finally come back. They missed a crap load of the get-together. And you or your relatives or family members or whatever, who I'm happy to smack on the back of their head if they do it, but what happened? They might go, hey, well, good evening, sir. Welcome back. Where have you been? It's like lunchtime and saying, oh, good evening. Where have you been? Look who's here. Wow, he's finally graced us with his presence. Hey, you've made it. Welcome back. These kind of patronizing, passive-aggressive Well, hello. Who's this? Give us a spell, mate. Seriously. It's patronizing. It's bullying. You're punishing an autistic person for using self-care tools and routines, for caring for themselves so they can be a part of this when they're regulated and not force themselves to stay dysregulated. That doesn't make any sense. And they're based on expectations. Don't punish someone for taking a break coming back. Don't announce autistic people's entrances and exits and movements. My understanding, just from being around my boy, me, other autistic people hate attention being brought to themselves or their name being used even. It's like, yeah, it's horrible, guys. Like, you're better than that. Expectations are a joke. I think personally expectations are a joke in any aspect of life on the premise that, sure, expectations are great, but you don't need expectations. You need standards. I don't have an expectation of how my kid unwraps a present. There's standards. We are grateful for everything we receive in life. That's our standard. Now, if you don't like the present, okay, cool. No worries. But we're not dropping away from our standard of still being grateful for receiving that present, that gift. Do you understand? That's a standard. You can say, well, that's the same thing. Okay, cool. If that's what you think it is, great. But it's not an expectation because I'm allowing him to divert from just being grateful and also being upset it's a crap present. Anyway, expectations will kill your relationship with an autistic person. If you're going to put neurotypical expectations on an autistic brain, you will kill the relationship. Let's talk about the one that no one wants to achieve. No autistic person in the history of the world has ever thought going into the Christmas or the holidays period, well, I can't wait to get autistic burnout after all this. No, our key goal is to avoid autistic burnout. And tip number 6 is to help the autistic person in your life avoid autistic burnout. What is that? Autistic people that become dysregulated through all the things we've talked about over the Christmas holiday period have, well, experiences, dysregulated experiences. Now, they pile up, they accumulate, right? So whether it's the expectations, the sensory stuff, the food, the gatherings, going to different places, it piles up. And then at a certain point, the threshold's broken and the autistic person in your life will have a meltdown or a shutdown. Right? These are two responses where they're not controllable, by the way. This is a brain response. Your brain is responding to being dysregulated to the extent that it's, in effect, it's disconnected. It's either shut down or it's melted down. Melted down obviously is more of an external manifestation, and shutdown is obviously more of an internal manifestation. Both aren't good experiences, and they're both extremely detrimental to our energy levels, our mental health. Now, if you find yourself having multiple in one day or over the space of a couple of days, trust me, you are going to get a ticket, a one-way ticket to autistic burnout land, my friends. Autistic burnout is a result of a cumulative amount of meltdowns, shutdowns, and dysregulation as an autistic person. So you've got to the point where you're no longer able to even re-regulate yourself through the meltdowns and the shutdowns, and it's caused autistic burnout, where you, in effect, are rendered completely useless. We're talking endless social interactions. We're talking being forced out of our routines, out of our comfort zones. We're talking about everything we've discussed. Autistic burnout is an absolutely 100% common result for just about every autistic person I've ever met by the end of the holiday period. And we're talking about a long-term period, potentially maybe all of January, maybe longer. It could steep into the first term of school for some kids down here in Australia, or school for other kids wherever you go to school and what times of the year and all. I don't know. But we're talking long-term, where it potentially actually impacts not only your quality of life, your productivity. It's gone. It's lost. And for what? So you've got no productivity, no energy, no ability to function. Why? So others could have the Christmas, the holidays that they wanted. That's the reason. You're putting your autistic kid into a burnout, or your autistic partner into a burnout, so you can have the holiday that you wanted. It doesn't make any sense. You can have the holiday that everyone wants. That's a better result, right? You apply the tips we've talked about. You work on what's more appropriate, more inclusive, not just for autistic people, but for the neurotypical people. How can we make this work together? Yeah, we can still do all the noisy stuff. Just got to tell the autistic people we're going to do some noisy stuff now. Do you want to stay or you want to chill? Yeah, understand the environment you're in or you're going to. Make the differences you can make. If you can decrease meltdowns and shutdowns and dysregulation, you will decrease the chances of the autistic person in your life experiencing burnout. Does that make sense? If you can use all these tips and tools and decrease the amount of meltdowns or shutdowns or dysregulation moments the autistic person in your life has through using these tips, then burnout is much further away, is less probable. And that's the best Christmas present I could ever get. Just once, I want to get through Christmas without going into a deep, dark period of autistic burnout. Regardless of what you celebrate or how you celebrate the period over the Christmas, the holiday period, I hope it's amazing for you and your family. I hope these tips can help you navigate what is, in my opinion, one of the worst times of the year. I don't know if I'll ever get to the bottom of why it is, but it's probably because of everything we just talked about in this video. And you know what? If you have comments to help other people, maybe you've got more tips. Let's see your tips and your ideas on how to better navigate the holiday period, the Christmas period, in the comments below. Maybe you've got topic suggestions. Put them in the comments below. I really do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much for your support. Until next time, we'll talk soon.